Hello and welcome to the Cow Corner Dugout. And we're starting about 28 minutes early. We otherwise start at 11, but we thought, okay, let's do a live watch along of this game as CSK are at the 13th over, 105 for 2. And joining me today is Trinay. And the other two people are yet to join on the show. They're going to come in maybe by about 11. But as excited CSK fans, we thought, okay, why not spend the time trying to watch CSK play this? We're having one more CSK fan joining us today. Welcome, Dorian.
Hello, everyone.
Wow, Dorian is in yellow. Is that a CSK yellow?
That is
No,
not a
it's an
CSK yellow.
that's Al Nasser. That's Al Nasser.
Al
It's a
Nasser.
football team.
Okay, I've heard of this football team. My son keeps talking about it. I don't know. A lot of
It's
the young
Ronaldo's
kids,
team. That's why.
he doesn't like Ronaldo. He is a Messi fan. So it looks like Messi and Ronaldo are A intersection B equal to null set. So is that a fair comparison?
Yes,
Me-
Yeah.
somewhat.
Messi and Ronaldo are Messi and Ronaldo like Dhoni and Kohli fans, always at war?
No, but there are
Basically,
a few. No, but there are a few Dhoni fans who like Kohli as well. But with Ronaldo and Messi, it's you know they hate
I
each other.
think I think that is that's also true. You also have some Ronaldo fans who are like good, who are like fine with Messi and like
Yeah.
it because. But yeah, I think that's with every fandom. You have your
Right.
two warring sides, and then you always have that little group that respects both for what they are.
Meanwhile, there
Sachin
were
V Lara.
16,
Sachin
16,
V Lara
16
would be
people.
a
No, I don't think people hated Lara, man. I don't think the world was very polarized back then. Um, the world has got polarized with the Dhoni Kohli thing or the Rohit Kohli, fan war narrative. But that said, welcome to all our 18 people who are live with us right now. Welcome, guys. And yes, don't doubt Steve Bhai because he said CSK is going to win in Delhi. And while we didn't have the game that we wanted, CSK batting first and scoring 235 for 2, that comes to the first point in this game. As much as this is a live watch along, what did you guys think of the pitch? We've seen a similar pitch that SRH also rolled out for KKR, which allowed Nareen and Varun Chakravarti to bowl 23 dot balls. And 23 dot balls is essentially shaving off 4 overs. So do teams are they not in control, or they just have one square like this which they have to rotate, and unfortunately teams aren't looking at what advantage or disadvantage it can prove to them, and disadvantage to them while advantage to the opposite team. Do you at the toss, what did you think of Delhi's decision to bat first?
it was a curious decision. But on your subject on pitches and the rotation of the pitches, the stadiums are not most of the stadiums are not outright owned by the IPL team owners. They're owned by the State Cricket Association. So the curators are most of the time not in control. Sorry, the IPL teams are not in control of the curators per se. And if there's a good relationship between the IPL team and the curators, then the curators can lay out a good pitch.
Which is fair. That's a narrative that I have heard in the past. I remember when I was uh, working more closely with the cricket ecosystem sometime in 2019 and 2020. I had heard from an analytics team that used to work with a few IPL teams that MS actually has a very good relationship with curators all over. So sometimes what happens is the nature of surface, while a team, I'm not entirely sure how true this is, but he had a lot of say in even getting the choice of square sometimes when CSK was playing away matches. But that said, again, I don't know how to
That
read
is
this.
very
That is
that is not a
interesting.
good look. That is shady.
Uh, that's how it is in Indian cricket. Because even if you look at it right, as much as I'm a CSK fan, I'm also open to the fact to understand what mistakes CSK as a team made. For example, getting Andrew Flintoff in the auction wasn't straight; it was very shady. I know, I hope you guys know what happened back then, right? Uh, Lalit Modi basically had an email exchange with N. Srinivasan with the
Yeah.
word
Oh
yours
yeah.
lovingly or something like that. And they said that I want Flintoff. I want Flintoff in my sting. So they rigged the auction to get Flintoff. Or they asked somebody like, I think Rajasthan Royals not to bid for Andrew Flintoff, such that they got it.
Hmm.
But
That's
that
some of the
said,
less
there are some
shadier stuff.
oddities.
that Lalit Modi has allegedly pulled off. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
there
Sure,
is a
sure.
lot of that. Yeah,
Also, I think when Lalit Modi started the IPL, for him, I think the whole focus was to create an entity by hook or crook, and he did a great job at it. Just that at
Yeah,
that point, complete ethical transparency was not something he optimized for. He optimized for hype. He optimized for selling this as a value proposition. That's why the focus was in the first 2 3 years. You see, a lot of controversies happened in the first 2 3 years, but
yeah,
your upside was so high. Controversy is like bowling, whereas your upside in terms of the hype is like your batting. So on a good flat wicket, if you are able to score 40 plus par, then even if you have bad bowling, you're able to compensate. That's probably the thought process at that point of time. But talking about some comments, Steve Boy says this Samson knock is an all-timer. Well played. Yes, 60 or 42 balls, and at this point, I think the bigger part was when Samsung has started this innings. None of the batters, I think, apart from Tristan Stubbs and the other guy, the CSK guy,
Rizvi,
right? Samir
Samir
Rizvi.
Samir
Rizvi.
Rizvi.
Nobody in Delhi really got started. And Sanju's got what, 9 boundaries, 5 sixes, and 4 fours, and that's been very important, especially after the 10th over, where Sanju's coming in, and that resulted in I think some 40 50 runs coming in those overs. I'll have to count and check the cricket info scorecard to see how many runs were scored between the 10th and the 14th over. And I think these 4 overs have essentially, oh wow, that's an amazing shot, slapped straight down the ground, but I think the outfield is a little slow. I thought that was going for a boundary, but it's not quite going. Delhi, CSK need 49 to win of 35 in an ideal flat pitch dew world. I don't know if there's dew. Did you guys see any signs of dew?
There seemed to be mild dew. It's most
They
and the
seem,
pitch. Yeah, go on.
yeah, there's that. Like when I said, there seem to be some, and I remember like earlier in the while Delhi were batting, there were actually like reports of there being slight drizzling as well.
There was
Not
drizzle. I remember seeing it.
yeah.
Yeah, so did I.
So I think CSK have enough wickets in the bag to just hit their way to victory, because unless there is some huge collapse and let's just say Dubé and Brevis and pretty much every single like other batter that follows goes for like single digits, I do not really see CSK having to struggle much apart from maybe a few overs here and there. Like
Yeah, I think the required run rate isn't so taxing. 49 of 35 balls. Technically, if you break it down by mathematical fraction, that's 7 of 5, 7 by 5. And that's now reduced to 42 of 33. As we're speaking, it's a 6. Natarajan bowled that one shot, and Sanju Samson just swatted that to deep square leg for a 6. Uh, yeah, so I think CSK find themselves in a fairly comfortable position, 42 of 33. If they win, their net run rate stays positive. I think it was point zero 0.01 before this game.
point, I remember like one of the tables it's at 0.005, and I think they just rounded it off for it to
Oh,
be like 0.01. So it was like very
oh,
marginal, but it was positive.
Okay,
right. And
Dhoni,
right
you
now,
brought
I
up.
think there was a very
You were
interesting comment before you guys go. There's a point that I wanted to mention. Shashi on our Cow Corner group had mentioned this very interesting point that this is not the kind of wicket for Natarajan to come bowl. He said that this is slow and holding, and the way Natarajan bowls. Natarajan is largely Yorker lengths, and he has a certain way. Though he does bowl cutters, like for example this ball, he felt Natarajan wouldn't be a great bowling addition on this particular surface. And now we're seeing a lot of runs come through in just this over. There's been a couple of sixes, one over extra cover, and one over deep square leg. And Natarajan's also been introduced pretty late into the attack. What did you guys think of uh, Natarajan being brought so late and him being hit again? 10 balls, he's gone for 23, and let this
I,
ball get
I,
over. 11 balls, 27. So it's been a pretty costly over, 6-6-4,
I feel
and
they
it's
should
run
have
a ball.
used. They should have used Natarajan like CSK used Gulshan Preet. Just bowl that length, the back of the length ball, take pace off occasionally, and play around with the batsman that way because the asking rate is well over 6, and on a pitch like this, that can be okay. It's around 8. It can be a slightly
That's six.
tasking.
Asking rate. Okay, asking rate at
Yeah.
the start was six is what you're saying. Now it's gone to almost run a ball, 32 of 31. This Natarajan over has gone for a lot of runs. And as we say, this is an interesting comment coming from Nirvikar Jain. If overcomplicating run chases is an art, CSK is Picasso of it. So, because of the last game, I think Sanju didn't last long in the MI game, right?
Yeah, he got out. He actually had a fairly lucky first, like there was a chance drop by Jax, I think, but then immediately after in that over from Bumrah, he got out to in the last ball. So
He got out. So,
Sanju,
the whole point
yes,
is if Sanju doesn't play, CSK have a very different approach to managing the chase. Sanju's experience at the top guarantees that CSK will play with a certain level of common sense and they will know when to attack. That's probably maturity coming, for CSK, which probably we didn't have in the game versus MI. But I kind of felt that it's a similar target that we chased even versus MI, where we could have finished the game much earlier. But CSK was like, let's focus on getting the 2 points in. I think they chased it in the 19th or 18th over, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
19th.
first ball of the 19th over, they finished off the
Third ball
game.
of the 19th over. So I think now CSK, I can see that Sanju is trying to score these runs quicker, and maybe it's just got easier to bat. And I'm happy to see somebody like Sanju Samson. By the way, Sanju Samson has the in this game has the highest strike rate, 168, just gone above Samir Rizvi.
Yeah.
But that said, a lot just Samir Rizvi and Sanju have been the only two batters who've gone at that orbit of 160 plus strike rates. Most of the other batters are in less than run a ball or max up to 120. So that's where they are. And as we speak, Karthik Sharma has also hit a boundary. I have this habit whenever I come switch the TV on, Karthik Sharma hits a 6 over extra cover. It's a boundary. And then when I look at his scores, he's batting at less than run a ball. Is that something you guys have also seen?
Yeah, that is one thing. Like I have noticed a lot of times, I'll be checking not the TVs, checking the score. Karthik Sharma has set a boundary. Oh, I was like, okay, chill. I think he might. This is the game. He might actually try to accelerate. And then like a few overs later, I'm checking the phone again, and he's suddenly at like below 100 strike rate somehow.
Or
It's,
he
That's
gets out. One of those two things happen.
yeah,
He did
Today
that
he's done
against
well.
MI as
He's
well.
played
Yeah. No, the
played
first match against
22
MI,
balls.
he took on
First
Sandner
match,
and then he
which
got out. He scored
yeah, yeah,
18 of
I
22
remember those
balls.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know those two sixes over extra cover, and
Two
that
sixes,
came
which
out
made his
so
strike rate look somewhat acceptable. And then he
right.
gets out and he ends up with a fast strike rate. Yeah.
And talking about strike rate being acceptable,
it's
in the
yeah.
Cow Corner group in the evening, you were talking about 1 of 7. It went to 1 of 8 before Ruturaj Gaikwad got that boundary. Do we still have a captain who is? I think do CSK have a captain who can still find his way into form? I know he got that knock against GT in Chepauk, where he batted fairly long for CSK, batted 20 overs, carried the innings there. But do you think he still needs to pull up his socks and then maybe play himself in? What do you guys think about Ruturaj Gaikwad's form?
Dorian, want to go first?
Yeah, I have a feeling right now that there's like a tendency inside CSK probably where Samson is probably the person who's going to hit, and Rutraj is going to play that anchor issue and anchor not in like 100 strike rate, but someone who probably goes for something like 140 strike rate, 150, while Samson is the one that banks him out of the park. But
Pause
I
and
have
watch that boundary right now. Pause, watch that boundary. Okay.
ooh
That ball was bowled, it was like full, and Sanju just stroked it through covers. It's just one push. It reminded me of the good old era of Damien Martin playing, where Damien Martin and Mark Waugh had these very lazy, languid, silky shots. Such a beautiful shot by Sanju Samson.
yeah. So
So yes, coming back. Sorry, Dorian, I interrupted it. It was too beautiful to ignore.
that's fine. That was honestly a very good boundary. But yeah, I have a feeling that Gaikwad is sort of pressurized. There's a sense of pressure amongst Gaikwad to perform, and oftentimes what we have seen is neither of uh, the opening batters just cannot stick. It's either Sanju gets out or Gaikwad gets out. And oftentimes when it's Sanju that gets out, it's Gaikwad that sort of has to like pull up that comes and sort of a rotation strike, gets runs here and there, and you start seeing him hit boundaries towards the end. We saw that against GT, and we also saw that to a certain extent against MI. So I have a feeling that Gaikwad is unable to sort of play freely because We remember what he did against MI last season in the first match. He got like he was striking at 200 when he hit his 50, and very next ball he got out. So there's I think a sense of captaincy stress or pressure under Gaikwad that's like inherent.
There is stress, but I don't think it's captaincy stress because he batted. His stats were fine in his first season as captain. Last year as well, he was out injured, nevertheless. But as you said, against MI, very first match of the season, he single-handedly, he took the chase on. He took the MI bowlers on, and we're all forgetting that this is the kid who slog swept Jasprit Bumrah to the bayside of Wankhede, right? This is
Yeah.
still that kid. The only difference is he's now captain and he is now jacked. There is literally nothing else which is different about him. There might be some stress. I don't want to blame the management here, but there could be something. They might be whispering in his ear. Play more responsibly. You're captain now, or we have You're batting with Urvil Patel on one end or Sanju Samson, both whose sole job it is to smash, and we could be two down pretty quick. So it is your job to stay there. Take us to the end, which is an old-fashioned way of thinking. Now I don't know if Rutu's self-inflicting this on himself or if it's someone in the management, but it is happening, right? We have seen enough proof this season that it is happening. That needs to change because it's a very outdated style of thinking. The power play is where you get most of your runs. Travis Sheikh has shown us that, and what is Surya Jay Vanshi? Yeah, Jay Vanshi has also shown us that. Yeah,
Suryavanshi.
Also, the kind of
Jaiswal
surfaces
and
that
Surya
they
Vanshi.
play,
Yeah.
the surfaces that they play in these places are also very different. For which this approach is, potentially valid. Luckily, I think now CSK are going to go play versus Lucknow, and we'll see how those games go. But let's not jump the gun. But
Yeah,
looking at this opening pair of Sanju and Rutu, do you think we are? How close are we to our ideal opening pair? Like I remember the times of Hussey and Vijay. Also remember the times of Shane
Faf and
Watson
McCallum
Roto.
and Faf du Plessis. Faf du Plessis. Who else was there? Who else are your ideal
McCallum and
CSK
Dwayne
openers?
Smith in
Yeah,
2014, 2015. We had McCallum and Dwayne Smith opening.
McCallum
Faf
and
and
Dwayne Smith
Rutu.
and that
Faf and Rutu.
Faf and
The
Rutu.
season where they were competing for 1 and 2 in the Orange Cap 21, if I'm not
What
mistaken.
about Kevin
I think
Yeah,
that
Conway?
was peak of opening pairs.
yeah, Conway and Rutu as well. There
Yeah,
was
they were
Conway and
good.
Rutu.
So Rutu's played two, three very interesting pairs, and I think he's far senior than we think he is, and I'm just hoping that he's able to find his rhythm as a leader and also as an individual batter that's taking CSK. But that said, it's been a very underwhelming season for a side like CSK, losing their first three games. And what's been the result after that? I think today they're like what 4 wins from 9 games. Is that where CSK is?
I think it's five. It's been 5 from 5. I think after today,
No,
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 we
it
lost
can't
the
five
first
be.
five
three.
wins, five. So
No, we had two losses in between. It's like win, loss, win, loss, win.
yeah. So
Yes,
if we win
yes.
this match, we'll be after 10 matches, we'll be on 5 wins and 5 losses. So 10 points.
Right, right. So today CSK is okay. So far, CSK has won 4 games and lost 5 games. So after the 3 games that they lost, the next 6 games CSK has won 4, which has been a fairly decent performance. And I think the two losses came against SRH in that
SRS
chase
and
which
GT.
we bottled up.
Yeah,
Yes,
that should
and
have been a
GT
win.
was a GT was I think the other team played significantly better. But
No,
I also
I
have to
don't
say
agree.
this.
I don't agree. I
Oh, hold
think
on.
the toss played. Yeah,
It played it bad. You're right. You're right. I was about to get there saying the games versus GT and RR. CSK played on the spiciest of surfaces that was available in the IPL. And even if it was a side like Punjab Kings or RCB, despite their top two spot right now, I think those teams would have also struggled. Is my opinion. So I think CSK it doesn't look as bad as we think CSK were, because initially when we looked at the first 3 games, it looked like everything was going amiss. But yeah, we've recovered out of a slump, and it's not like Punjab is immune to collapses. We've seen Punjab also collapsing. If you
Yeah.
remember the first qualifier last year at Mullanpur, Punjab
Yeah, I
played
think it was like
RCB.
some like 100 odd runs they were all
Correct.
out. There was like a
110,
very
115 kind of all out. And again, so I'm just saying that on spicy wickets, most of these sides go hell for leather. They don't know any other way to play a game and get to a 150 total. Because and even if you get a 150 in a day-night game like the way Delhi have got today, the other side has the option of a roller as well as dew. So it becomes slightly more easier trying to bat. So you are having an imbalance. It's a fair point by Trinai also that CSK have been a little unlucky to face these surfaces early on. But that said, today CSK are looking to advance 4 wins in 9 games, potentially 5 wins in 10 games. And as I speak right now, what is CSK 144 for two? We're almost at 9 and over. 12 runs of 22. It'll be interesting if they can win with 3 overs to spare. That will
Yep.
really prop up CSK's net run rate. And yeah, we'll still. It's been an interesting thing that CSK will win it even with whatever margin they win. The points table, the relative positions in the point table, as Nirav pointed out, has not changed in the last 4 days. So we've basically had 4 days of IPL that has not made a single dent to the points table
Yep.
in a relative position standpoint.
Yeah.
One hell of a start, right? And I remember we've been talking about broadcast numbers overall being going down, and this could be one of the reasons, right? Your team wins, but then no one moves in the points table, and on top of that, as you pointed out earlier on previous streams, Karthik, the top five are clearly dominating, and the bottom five, to an extent, CSK and DCR, but it's all dead rubbers, right? There is no point of an MI and who wants to watch an MI and an LSG playing besides for Nikki Puran's fireworks. But then it's irrelevant, right? Nothing's going to come off of it. It just, match practice, if anything. This game, however, does have stakes. It's an effective killer, right?
It's a virtual knockout.
Yeah, a
It's a
virtual
virtual
knockout.
knockout basically.
Yeah, DC, I think their season is done. I don't see how they come back from this. CSK have a very, very slim outside chance. It gives us fans, the three of us here are all CSK fans, and Deepak, a friend of the show, is also diehard CSK fan. It gives us some hope. We have some hope that we can somehow qualify. So yeah,
But
it is.
Pranay, speaking of virtual knockouts, we have another match against GT, our final match of the season, and we have two games against LSG, which by all rules of logic CSK should win. But I mean CSK doesn't follow the rules of logic. And then you have SRH. So you have SRH and GT, and these two are going to be crucial matches. These are going to be basically knockouts. Lose either one of these, and you can just say goodbye to your playoff chances.
Yeah.
This is basically like heading up to a point for CSK where it's do or die. You have to perform. You have to do something, and you also cannot afford to slip up against LSG, who recently have found how Nikki Puran was back, who just hit MI out of the park. So you
Yeah,
can't
the
discount
Mumbai.
them either.
Yeah, and the Mumbai Idiots have gotten back half of LSG's batting lineup back into form for us, and the other half's probably going to get into form, could be against us. So that really concerns me. I hate you, Mumbai. Even when you lose to us, you still find a way to screw our plans over. So thank you for that. We'll get back to you next season. Um,
But the
yeah,
good
so
thing
it
is,
is really
I still
scary.
don't think I don't see it as a problem. For all you know, it's good that they got into
See,
form because I also want a competitive. Their batting has got into form, but their bowling on a flat surface basically it just went haywire, right? We saw 11 overs, Mumbai scored 143 last night. And it was like, for me, it was a snooze fest. I remember at that point, I said, okay, these guys are hitting and winning. It's going to, well, sure, their batting definitely got into form, but maybe it's an opportunity for them to also see how are they ending the season. They have good Indian talent and they have to make use of it. The next game is versus RCB. I'm interested to see how Arjun Tendulkar is going to go. I saw somebody tweeting that he is likely to get a game because he went with his wife Sania Chandok to Lucknow from Mumbai after that game. It'll be interesting to see if he gets a game. And Lucknow play RCB. So if Lucknow at some point can, somebody like a Nikki Puran's higher ceiling on that kind of a track. See, Nikki Puran scoring 90 in 6 overs in a 250 par game is very different from scoring 80, 90 in 6 overs in maybe what is a 160, 170 game in Lucknow. So I'm waiting to see how that contest goes because if RCB lose that game, potentially they stay on 12, while a lot of the other teams are slowly now coming up. So you are basically having 6 teams competing, within that 10-12 range. So that makes for an interesting last couple of weeks at the IPL. So right now, where are we? We are CSK needs 7 to win of 17 balls, 1 to win of 16 balls. In fact,
okay, I'd like to move on to Karthik Sharma just for a moment here. He has been batting virtually on a runner ball for quite a while now. He's done that in
And you
previous
just hit a
matches.
six.
37 of
Man,
30.
this is called strike rate farming at its finest. We did not pay 14.5 crores for a guy to hit a six. Okay, you finished the match off. Thanks. This strike rate is going to be a concern. We need to win matches from here on out. We have a guy who smashes spin and pace on the bench. Sarfu, why are we not using him? Is it just because of the 14.4 price tag on Karthik, or do you see something else?
I think they've seen something else in a player like Karthik. I'm sure they have, overpaid for Karthik Sharma or for Prashant Veer, giving them 14.5 crores for the season. But it's also been that they're looking at him probably as a future pick, like the way they picked Ruturaj Gaikwad. If you remember that comment in 2020, uh, Dhoni had this comment saying that none of these young guys have spark. And then it took a
Yeah.
Ruturaj Gaikwad 50 in that game versus RCB. I remember, I think had gone on Mysore Road here for a trek with my friend who's an RCB fan, and we finally beat RCB in that game. That's it. The game's over. 41 of 31. That's where Karthik Sharma will finish.
Yeah,
And
see, he
the
was
point that you
31
made
of
on the
29. He was 31.
right,
Sorry to interrupt, but 31 of 29, and he hits two boundaries to finish the game off. That is not the strike rate we want. We want you need to be doing that consistently. His strike rate now looks okay-ish for a bad track. He rotated the whole time, and now he hits this. This is really sketchy. Yeah,
yeah,
please
and
continue.
this
I
is a
just want to say
point.
that.
This was a point that Nirvikar Jain also made. He placed too many dots in the middle. I'll tell you a similar thing that I observed. I remember the time Mike Hessen came to RCB, and I was also curious to see if RCB can basically farm common sense, because they would get all batters and then they would just not pick bowlers at all, like Corey Anderson's famous this thing. We tried to bowl him as a death bowler. So with Mike Hessen coming, they started trying to eliminate some of the dumber decisions that they used to do. And at that point, I remember they got in 21 Rajat Patidar. They got the Andhra wicketkeeper, I forget his name, who played his last test at Vizag. Uh,
KS Bharat.
KS Bharat. Okay, KS Bharat was their number three batter, and these guys would bat only at run a ball. But you still had AB who would come and get that finish. But it was very important at that point for having that stability scoring at run a ball. Sure, you aren't the most ideal T20 team, and RCB also decided that okay, we aren't the most ideal T20 team, but let us look at focusing on getting wins in the points table, and let us not focus on the calculator or the net run rate bit. We will get there when we have to. And I think having stable batters scoring at run a ball is still helping them move marginally ahead in the season, so that they get a little more confidence when you get to the knockout games. And I think that's the only way I will see this. But yes, you have somebody like Sarfu, who we saw right in the third game that CSK played. Sarfu almost played a blinder in that chase versus RCB, but unfortunately, I don't think he's made it to the playing 11 as regularly after that knock. I thought he was one of our best batters.
I think
The first,
he had like a decent run up until like the what was the game before GT. Before GT was
SRH.
SRH, I think. Yeah, I think it was until then he was getting like a consistent run. GT, you saw him come in as an impact player, and then you haven't seen him on the pitch since. And like Karthik said, that he played a blinder of innings against RCB. He also helped CSK reach a 200 plus score against Punjab, and against KKR he struggled. But then again, we can see that he has that sort of ability. But I just think his form sort of going off is the reason why they are bringing in Karthik, because Karthik Sharma, just so just to like see, okay, what can this young gun provide? What can this person provide? And there's also another aspect that we are not seeing is that what is he doing in the train? What are they doing in the training sessions as such? There's also that
we don't
aspect.
know that, right? So yeah, that's something we
Yeah.
don't know because we're only getting social media updates. But that said, Sanju Samson, that's what Manjunath has said, one of the best innings I've seen in IPL. It like fits the Sanju Samson template that we've seen in the World Cup knockouts, right? He goes in 80 or 50 balls, 84 or 50 balls in those three games, doesn't score 100. So Sanju is going in the same template, and of course it's very nice to see a mature player keeping an IPL team in the hunt. So while we've always said that the top five IPL teams as of now have a good chance, CSK have a very very outside chance as of now. But the rest of the four IPL teams, which is Delhi, Mumbai, Lucknow and Kolkata Knight Riders, they are literally out of the IPL. they have very little chances to come back into the IPL because at some point most of these teams will get 14, and I think they're already at that level where I think that the max they can get to is 14. I'll have to check the table if it's updated right now for where Delhi
IPL's
is.
website is giving an updated table right now with the
So
win
Delhi
added.
has 4 wins. Delhi has, I think, 4 wins. CSK's
Yeah,
net run rate is moved to from 0.005 to 0.151 by winning with 16 balls to spare. And what that means is CSK has won 5 out of their last 7 games, which is a very welcome position from losing their first 3 games. Delhi Capitals, on the other hand, only 1 win in the last 5 games, and that 1 win, I don't know who did it come against
RR.
against RR. So they just downed RR by the one of the top teams by creating confusion there. But it's made the IPL interesting. So now all of a sudden, if you look at the top 6 teams, the margin of difference is essentially 1 victory. Of course, Punjab is 2 victories ahead. Technically, 1.5 victories ahead because they had a rained out game versus Kolkata Knight Riders. But that said, RCB and Punjab have only played 9 games, whereas CSK, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Sunrisers have played 10 games. So it looks like we're set for a very interesting IPL. What could make it interesting tomorrow is if LSG beat RCB, and RCB stays on 12. And anyway, these guys, I think Delhi Capitals now being on 8, they have 4 more games. They
Yeah,
technically can get to 16 points, which is what is required as a minimum to qualify for the playoffs, but it makes their chances tougher. CSK are also technically could have been on 8, but yes, because they won this game, they're on 10. So with 4 more games, CSK can finish on 18. Now that wasn't something you ever thought of as a possibility, but yeah, one never knows how games play out from here. But most teams are at this point. There are 5 teams here that have played 10 games. 6 teams have played 10 games, and only five. 3 of them are in the hunt, which is basically sorry, 4 of them are in the hunt, which is Sunrisers, RR, Gujarat, and Chennai Super Kings. But what do you think about Delhi Capitals? 4 games in the last 5 that they've lost. Where is their campaign going? Do you think they can make a comeback here?
Okay. I remember at the start of the season, us and many other analysts on Twitter, YouTube, etc., we were looking and drooling at the ferocity of the Delhi Capital squad. The amount of inform and quality Indian batsmen and foreign batsmen they had was out of this world. Abhishek Porel, Karun Nair, Prithvi Shaw on the bench is something else. CSK would gladly accept those guys into our team, right? They're absolutely, their squad blew everyone else's out of the water along with Mumbai, right? And many of us thought that they'd finish in the top two, forget the top four. They were a top two side at the start of the season. However, they got thrown off course because of poor team selection, strategy, whatever it was. I wouldn't say a loss of form. Odd things like trying out Sahil Parekh in the RCB match, stuff like that, and not reading conditions. Like, I don't think they read it really well today. This was not a bad first wicket in my opinion. This was a bad second opinion, and bad second wicket, and I think you guys will share my opinion.
yeah.
So it just stupid shit like that which accumulates, and a crack team like this ends up, where are they, seventh? Yeah, that shouldn't be happen. That should not be happening, right? These guys are too good for that. And
Now that we've
here's
spoken
another
on,
interesting. One more thing. Here's another interesting stat that I've pulled. The Delhi Capitals average. Okay, do you guys want to guess what the league average power play score is? Like, any
I would say
guesses?
probably say
70 or
58 or
60,
60.
70.
Oh, Karthik, really good. 58.4 this year. This doesn't include today's game, by the way. So, yeah, it doesn't include today's numbers. Um, Delhi's, the DC's average power play score is 49.25. When you compare it to the league average of 58, that's a huge difference, right? Especially on the flat tracks. So, I think that is
Again,
something that has been
we are
costing them as
making a
well.
small, well, it's an interesting stat to look at. I think the way to probably look at it is in terms of on that wicket. For example, if it was no, I just, the only question is maybe 48 could be high for like today CSK at 7 overs they were 49 for 2, and that was the over I think Akshar had bowled and got a couple of wickets. So while they've got a low power play score, they've actually won this game because they managed to have a good middle overs. So I think it's a combination of multiple things to look at. But yes, DC is below the overall power play thing, and that might be one aspect of their strategy which is not working. But they've made a bunch of piss poor decisions, which is like, for example, you said right, Sahil Parekh, or for example, deciding to bat first in a potentially a chase first game, or
Yeah, and
deciding not to run. Take for
juggling
example the David
Nitish
Miller
Rana,
run, right?
Samir Rizvi,
Nitish.
yeah, juggling all of them, really stupid.
And David Miller is going to also raise a hand and say, okay, I one game that they could have won against GT. But yes, that makes the whole part interesting, because if that had happened, right, if David Miller had run that single, today CSK, Gujarat, and Delhi Capitals would have been on 10 points each at the end of 10 games. But
Yeah.
Okay,
that's not to be.
I have another stat. You'll wish you haven't asked for this. The opposition teams, like in the games that DC played, their opposition sides are averaging 65.5 in the power
Uh,
play against them, and in those same games, Delhi are scoring 49. So
No, you're right. Then
it's
I think that is
unbelievable.
a good stat to say that okay, there is a differential of 16 runs. The question is there middle order making up for it? Is there death overs making up for it? Is probably the other question that I'd ask looking at this data. You guys are young
Pranay,
kids. You would, whenever you write a math exam which has data sufficiency or data reasoning, that's how you reason it out. So I've gone through this whole routine in Chennai 20 years back, trying to look at data, trying to look at numbers. But that's how I would look at it. But that said, Manjunath Mysore has a question. KKR outside chance two is what he says. Can one of you download the points table? We can just put it up here. I think the current
I
points
have.
table. Yeah,
I hold on.
KKR
Let me
are.
see if I can.
By the way, yeah, here's an interesting point. KKR have only
Yeah.
played 9 games, okay, and KKR are on 7, technically on 6, but they've got that extra point due to the rains in Kolkata. So they will get to 9 points, which is not too far behind Chennai. One point behind Chennai, and they'll go ahead of Delhi Capitals.
I
So
have the table up in the thing, like the image. I don't know.
yeah,
Bring it
I'll
up.
add it here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is multiple. Okay, it's too small as a font to read. What am I going to see that here? Okay, yeah, Kolkata Knight Riders, they have 3 wins and one rained out game. So yes, so from a net run rate perspective, I think Kolkata is fairly down. They need a few wins with better margins. But that said, they will get to 9 points and they will be clearly ahead of DC. So even if DC were to win these games, they'll have to win it with a certain margin to be competitive with the top four. I think that way CSK having a positive net run rate margin are doing better than some of these other sides that are also on the fringes. But to me, if I were to look at CSK and say these guys have a chance, I'd probably not say that CSK has a chance, because the other sides, PBKS, RCB, SRH, RR, they are in a very different league when it comes to batting or when it comes to the resources that they have. But yes, teams have now started to find out that the other teams have a few lacunae, and all of that is coming out to the fore. So it's set for an interesting week. Meanwhile, we have 69 people on the stream. Welcome to the people who are live on the stream. And yes, we look forward to some of your comments. We aren't experts, we're just fans who are having a good time while watching a game and trying to have a social conversation going on. And yeah, welcome to all of the 69 fans. If you are watching us on my Twitter stream, you can also subscribe to us on the Cow Corner Dugout on YouTube, which is also where we are streaming it. And a lot of our clips from the current conversation make it to YouTube as well as on Instagram. So that said, uh, I think where were we? The middle guy. What lipstick do you use? Are we back to lipsticks for?
Pranay is just
No,
getting
no, no.
cooked.
This is slander.
You seem to have some kind of a
Again.
filter.
No,
Did you?
I'm
Did you?
pink. Guys, please,
No,
I'm
no.
completely straight.
Okay.
I
Don't
So
tried.
you know,
insult
it looks like you have some kind of a filter put on, which has this
me.
extra. The pinks are coming out. The greens are more
Yeah,
saturated.
it does look like that.
I'll check that out.
But
Anyway,
it's a
I
very
have
clear. But it's very clear as a filter. Dorian looks like he's actually in some smudgy room that's full of oil, and I can't basically
But
see Dorian.
That's why
Dorian is
cameras
on
just
240 pixel. He's on 240 pixels, whereas you seem to be on HD, and I seem to be on 4K. So yeah,
Okay, diverting back to cricket and Delhi Capitals, I have some more numbers here. In the middle overs, they're actually a really good middle over side compared to the other teams. They average 87 runs in the power play as compared to the opposition who average 80. 80 runs per middle overs played on an average as a whole. Death overs is almost equal. Delhi will get 39 runs and the opposition will get 41. So you can see that equals out. So they're losing matches purely because of their
numbers are
power play. Their power play is costing them most of their games, I would argue, because that's where the run differential is. If you're playing a Punjab or an RCB who are really good, you're probably going to lose to them. But on an average, I would say it is their power play that's costing them. They invested in Nisanka and Duckett, to bash in the power play. Duckett's not showed up, and neither is Nisanka to an extent. He's had one good knock in the 6 or 7 games that he's played. So I think that is the
But
root of
that
their
said,
problems.
there is a question that Andy B has asked. Do you need Nisanka? And while I ask this question, I'm going to go fill some water and allow you guys to think about it. Um, do you think somebody like Prithvi Shaw, who's a very natural stroke maker at the top, who also needs time in the middle, is a good addition at the top of the order instead of Nisanka, which allows them to maybe get another foreign
Hi,
player
Miller.
in if required?
Yes, I'll go first. That is okay, Dorian. It's you and me now. I think
yeah,
on Andy B's point, that probably is their perfect move. It solves their power play woes. They're at a 16-run loss compared to all the other teams they're playing, right? And
yeah,
I watched a Jared Kimber show where he basically said that Shaw needs absolutely no time to start. He has a positive net strike rate of plus 30, which is really, really good. Par is zero, and true strike rate. You don't know how true strike rate values work, right? Shaw was at like
yeah,
plus 30, even in the power play all the way back then. So if Shaw comes and bashes and he's able to get DC to 60, 55 or 60 in the power play, their middle order and their depth is either well above par or par, so that they end up with an above par score every single time. And if you kick Nisanka out and bring Shaw in, and assuming he plays Urul Patel role, right?
yeah.
Hit out, score 20 of 10. Okay, bye bye. We have Rolls Royce Rahul and everybody else to score runs. Samir Rizvi. Um, so yeah, that might be the perfect fix, and that you can slot Miller back in lower down the order as well. So I
Yeah.
think Andy B really good shout. I don't know if you're Andy Flower in disguise or just another another fan, but that is actually a very good shout.
And like another thing is at this point, DC have nothing to really lose because they are very much like very far back. So if you have already experimented uh with someone like Sahil Parak up top, but if you already experimented with someone like Sahil Parak, why not try out Shaw, who also has that experience of playing in the IPL earlier?
That was the
So
first question I asked myself when I was like, man, you give a chance to Sahil out of nowhere. Uh, why not to Prithvi Shaw, who's, I know the DC management did not like his ways and they parted ways, but you picked him for a reason and you know the kind of advantage. I think it was a 2019 or 20 season, he had 5 boundaries in a row. That's still some time back, but I think if you have Shaw in your side, he presents a certain value. Okay, if not Shaw, what about Abhishek Porel? And that's the question that again Andy B is asking. Abhishek Porel was Delhi's trusted opener, right? Or an impact player in the 23-24 season of the IPL. So what has suddenly changed? You have a wealth of Indian talent. You might as well use them, your foreign talent for bowling or for, let's say, your middle order, lower middle order, like
Finishing,
a
yeah.
Kristen Stubbs or a David Miller, or just get more bowlers. But why would you want to waste it on a top order batting slot with Nisanka? As much as I'd argue, hey, what are you guys doing with KL Rahul? KL has actually done pretty well in playing against pace. There have been knocks where he slowed down, but I think I'm happy with what KL has shown. He could be like number 6 or number 7 in that rank of top order openers who are in contention for a World Cup squad. But yeah, right now not anywhere in that list. We had that discussion a couple of days back.
Yes.
On where does KL Rahul position himself in this whole audition of openers? But that said, Sanju Samson is definitely keeping his place. And what a stat, man! I just saw the stat on the broadcaster. Whenever Sanju Samson scores less than 40, CSK lose. or I think CSK has won one game out of five.
Once that was MI.
One,
That was against
one out
MI.
of six. The other games, when he scores above 40, he is such a high percentage contribution in CSK's victory, where if Sanju scores more than 40, CSK wins. Just imagine the math. Okay, statistically, if this guy scores 40, CSK is guaranteed. So if Sanju and Rutu are actually able to play till the power play, CSK are not now trying to optimize for net run rate. They're just trying to optimize for getting a point to win, getting those 2 points up. So yeah, interesting times in the IPL.
On DC's top order and KL Rahul. See, Rahul's been thrown back into the auction quite a few times, right? And why I feel the big teams as in the ones with cups, CSK, MI, why I feel they don't break the bank for him per se is because if you have him at one end, you need somebody like an Abhishek Sharma at the other end. I'm not saying Rahul's batting slow. I'm not saying that's the case. He scores you a lot of runs a well above par strike rate, but he bats in the power play, right? His stats would be perfect for a guy at 3 or 4, but when you're opening, you need to maximize the power play. We're seeing dual combinations. I mean, even Virat Kohli's made the change, right? Virat Kohli
Right.
goes most of the time. He goes hammer and tongs in the power play along with Phil Salt. You're having dual combinations where everybody is going, trying to smash. Rahul doesn't do that, which is why again, he's not being considered for Indian selection, and two, if you don't have a guy like Shaw at the other end, or Abhishek, or Travis Head, or whoever else, you get hit in the power play. And it's clearly showing in the stats, right? On average, they're scoring 16 runs less than their oppositions in the power play, and that is costing them games. I would argue that if they had a guy who could score quickly and make up for Rahul's slightly below par strike rate in the power play, they might have won some more of those games. And this is pure speculation with the benefit of hindsight. But I would argue that if they had someone like that at the other end, their other numbers are fine. I feel they would be winning a lot more games. I don't think they're as good as the top two, but the top four is they should be making the top four if they fix that
Right.
one thing.
Mm.
But talking about the point that Manjunath makes here about Kuldeep Yadav, and we've seen Kuldeep Yadav been a little off color today, 34 runs that he gave in the 3 overs. But if you look at Kuldeep Yadav's games that he's played for Delhi Capitals this year, I'm trying to actually find out his bowling figures, so such that we have a fairly informed conversation on Kuldeep Yadav. Let me just present it. Is this the one? Yeah. So these are Kuldeep Yadav's figures, 0 for 34 today. If you look at the total wickets he's taken in the last 10 games, he's just got 7 wickets in what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Of course, that's hurting Delhi Capitals as a team, right? If you look
Yeah.
at the way Kuldeep Yadav's performance has been, apart from that one game in Lucknow, which is a fairly bowler friendly track, where Kuldeep's other wickets have come in Bangalore, which again was a bowler-friendly track because DC kept RCB on a slightly drier track to 175, and that was a commendable effort. So Kuldeep's essentially just had two, good games. I add in a third, which is 2 for 46 on the 25th of April versus PBK. It was a 2 for so you kept your space in a what is otherwise what 264 is 13 runs and over. He's gone at less than 12 and over. So that way, I think he's still slightly above par for what is required. So Kuldeep's had like 2.5 games or max 3 games out of 10. So I think that's definitely hurting Delhi Capitals in their bowling department. What do you guys see? Have you had any observations on Kuldeep Yadav, the bowler?
Uh, DC's bowling lineup to me has been okayish. I haven't seen anything too concerning with them besides, they've done stupid shit sometimes, like use Akshar in the power play when there clearly is no matchup. But it has worked for them sometimes. Kuldeep, as such, he seems to be. I don't know if it's the World Cup burnout. Um, 4 out of this 5 or 6 World Cup bowlers who were really good for India then. I mean, Dorian and I were speaking about this earlier. Four out of
Yeah.
the 6 World Cup bowlers have completely fallen off, right? Bumrah, Ashdeep, Varun's come back, so I wouldn't count him. Pandya and Akshar, right? They were all really good in the World Cup, but now they've been looking really great.
Right.
So, and you cannot include Kuldeep in that, right? Because he was also in that squad. So I'm wondering if it is the World Cup blues that have gotten to him, or if it's he's not able to cope with the flat tracks, or it could be something to do with the management, which we have seen before.
I
It's
think
unclear.
this is going to be an interesting conversation for us to look
Yeah.
and find out if you were to research, like you guys did a research on Dubey last night. I'll be curious to see what is it that's causing Kuldeep Yadav's lack of form, and that'll be an interesting conversation to have. See
Hmm.
if we have a detailed analysis on Kuldeep Yadav, the bowler. Where is he going wrong?
Yeah.
That said, it's another point that Andy is making, that it's incredible that Delhi is fucked up recruiting, overseas openers. Overseas openers are fairly easy to find. Like I think
So
it's a
true.
very interesting point, right?
Yeah.
Like somebody like a Finn
Yeah.
Allen or Rickleton have gone at Quinton de Kock have gone at base price 1 crore, 2 crores.
Tim
Why are you
Safford.
spending Tim
Tim
Seifert?
Seifert
So
as well. Yeah.
so when you know that, see, unless they are like elite, like for example a Fab Duplessis or a Brendan McCullum, those are elite people for which you want to go pay money because they, or a Phil Salt who changes the game. But in this case, none of it is happening. I'm just surprised that they've gone for people as openers who are not consistent. Sure, Nisanka is somebody who's very consistent, but I've seen Nisanka bat like Bradman only at Palakele in the white ball format. But outside of that, I'm just wondering, while Nisanka has been in good form in recent years for Sri Lanka, I don't still think he is a all all types of tracks kind of player, and I think he still needs to work on his game to be a consistent opener. It's good to give the kid a few games, to see if he's up for the big league, but I don't think he's going to carry Delhi with the kind of
See,
bowlers that you have. I think Delhi could have very easily worked on the same point that we said, where you have Indian openers, get them to play and get your power from bowlers or middle order batters who can still pull the game away from you if it's lost. So I'm just trying to look at where can you create impact, where can win percentages help for Delhi as a team. The season is not yet over. If assuming the top teams struggle and Delhi is able to get a big win under their belt, who would have thought CSK would beat MI by 103 runs? Miracles happen.
Yeah.
not us
So
for sure.
yeah. So we
True.
never thought about it, and we're taking one game at a time. We're seeing how teams are performing. So I think this is something where Delhi has kind of messed up. But coming back, and yes, Nisanka's stats against a slow left-arm orthodox bowler, as Steve Bai said, when this guy was bowling to him, right, Akil Hussain was bowling, the stats were like 103 is a strike rate against a slow left-arm orthodox bowler. So I'm happy that CSK has finally looked at some of these things and has started to bowl Akil Hussain. But CSK's general strategy also is, chalo Akil Hussain 3 overs in the power play, or get 2 overs off Akil Hussain, so that he's anyway a good bowler, not just that just there is a matchup alone. But yeah, so far we've seen CSK winning by 8 wickets versus MI. Then SRH, KKR won by 7 wickets. GT won by 4 wickets versus PBKS. Have been, I can't say upsets, but yeah, different results. And then finally now DC losing to CSK. So been quite the weekend. Then
Let's
expected to
circle back
go.
to Nissanka. Let's circle back to Nisaka for a bit. He has been really he okay. I think he debuted back in 21, and it doesn't seem that way because he seems
He
really young.
has. Yeah.
Yeah, he
He.
debuted back in 21, and he was really bad for the first 2 years across all three formats. For the first 1 or 2 years. After that, he made a comeback across all three formats. I mean, he's been Sri Lanka's best batsman besides Kamindu Mendes in the red ball format, and against Australia as well. I don't know how many of you remember this match. I do, like yesterday. He absolutely tore them to shreds, right? In the T20 World Cup, which knocked them
Yeah.
out that match. Yeah, and
There was also a knock from Nisanka. I'm pretty sure he hit a century against India as well in the Asia Cup. And I remember that whole Asia Cup, he was actually like pretty, was actually batting pretty well in the Asia
yeah,
Cup as well.
yeah, and to top it, see, but I don't think the Delhi management had 100% faith on him because they went for Ben Duckett as well in that auction for base price. And why would you get two foreign openers if you have complete faith in one, right? And that two of who are probably going to belt it. I expected Duckett to start before he pulled out of the thing. I completely respect that he's gone to play counties to save his England test spot. So I don't think they ever had 100% faith in Nasanka, which is why they gave him 3 games. He was dropped, and then they gave him another two, right? And then he's finally made runs. So I don't think they ever had 100% faith in him. But I
But
don't know
that
how
said,
much they trust him
Nisanka's
with Visha.
performance has not been that bad also. He's averaged what, 26 is his average in the first 8 matches that he's played. And a 26 average in a T20, you take that. You know? 26 average at a 150 strike rate is essentially scoring 26 off 18 balls or something like that. So that's what Nisanka is essentially averaging. One game, I think he scored against RR on May Day, he scored 62 of 33 balls. That's probably his best knock here. But while
Yeah,
he's adapted to a high pressure environment, he's maintaining an aggressive intent. But I think he still needs a 1 or 2 seasons to unlock his beast mode. I don't think he is right now in beast mode in world cricket. He's been amongst the best for Sri Lanka, amongst the relative players that he's played with. He's probably the best there. He's also the cornerstone of the team batting lineup for the his domestic T20 side or the franchise T20 leagues where he played for Jaffna Kings. So while he
Okay.
is a consistent run getter for Sri Lanka or for the Sri Lankan domestic T20 leagues, I think at the IPL level, he is showing good signs. But yes, the question is, can Delhi not find Indian openers such that you're able to find more impactful players who could play the lower order? Because if you have
Let
KL Rahul at one end, you want somebody else who can. If the day KL Rahul bats at a 150, 160 strike rate, you want somebody else who can maintain similar momentum. So I think this is probably an area for Delhi to think through.
Okay, if I were to ask you to, who do you think this season, or forget about this season, honestly, a stereotype, if they open together, who do you think would have the highest strike rate this season, Nisanka or Rahul? Just off the top of your head, don't think about it too deep.
I
Who
think
do you think has the
no,
highest
I
strike
think
rate?
KL. Sure, I think KL would. I've seen KL bat so well this year, and
yeah,
I think to me KL is at a 170, 180 strike rate.
Well, he's at 180, and
180. Yeah,
Nisanka is at 156. And like I said, 180 is good, but you have guys like Abhishek Sharma, Suryavanshi, who's younger than me, and Dorian, going at 250, 260, 270 in the power play. Fine. Rahul, he makes you boatloads of runs, so him going at 180 is fine. You cannot afford to have another guy at the other end going at significantly less. He's going at 156 this season and averaging 25. You need another guy. It's fine if he averages 20. It's fine if he averages 25. He needs to, be scoring at 220, 230 at least to make up for, a Rahul slight, not slowdown as such. He's not scoring at the monstrous rates that everybody else is. And you don't have, you know, that's what they haven't been accounting it for. And Delhi and fans in general will blame it on Rahul. They'll say that he's an anchor, he's batting still too slowly, he's selfish. That happened last year, and I haven't seen it happen much. I don't know if you guys have, but I think that is the problem. The guy at the other end, you need someone going hammer and tongs. Rahul's
yeah,
runs will cover for the both of them, but he needs someone 20 of 10. The Urvil Patel guy, basically 20 of 10, 25 of 13. That kind of guy. And Nisaka has not been doing that, which is my point. I think they should sub in Prithvi Shaw now for the rest of the season just to see how he goes. But what do you guys
yeah.
think
That
about that?
was. I want to actually bring up a point of yours, like someone like Urvil Patel. I would say, having having a 30 of 10 cameo type player at the start would is not really that beneficial. So, if anything, you want a sort of like someone along the lines of someone who can like probably bat well above 200, but who can also very consistently bat at someone like 190 or 190, because Urul Patel is a type of a player who is either all guns blazing or bust. You do not want that at the top of the order, where it's basically just a free where if things go wrong, you're basically starting one down. So some
Okay, but yeah, finish.
yeah, but I would say you need someone who can bat at 190 consistently, and he can have like a few innings here where he can go above and well and beyond 200 strike rate.
See, we've seen Sunil Narayan being deployed 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong. 2016 was when Gautam
17.
Gambhir made him open. Yeah, 17.
17, huh? 17, yeah. Because 17 you opened at Melbourne Stars, and then I think, yeah, that's the experiment
Yeah,
started
he
there.
opened
Yeah.
for Renegades. Yeah,
Renegades, yeah, that's right.
Chrislin, Chrislin and him opened, right? And Chrislin was also one of the hardest hitters with the ball back then. And they were very often one down, but they were also off to blazing starts, right? So that's a tried and tested method. Having one guy at the top who's going to smash. Now, with the impact player rule, most teams have up to 8 batters, sometimes even 9 if they have a good all-rounder or two in the team. I feel now is the time where you need someone striking at 220, 230, just to compensate for the other teams and the batsmen they have. When you're going up against an informed Abhishek and Head, even if you get one of them out, Ishan Kishan's going to come and start doing the same bloody thing, right? So what I'm saying is 190 may be true, but will that cover the 16-run gap in power play scoring average? Is my question. I don't think it will. And
Hmm.
if you're going to strike at 190, you probably want to score a boatload of runs. And I don't see anybody else in that team who's going to come up there and score as many runs as Rahul is. So their best bet is to give it to Shaw. Shaw is probably as talented as Abhishek, right? His whole tagline was the next Tendulkar, and he has
Yeah.
a century, if I'm not wrong. He made his
Of
debuts at
course. No,
ridiculous.
no. See, he had a test century, but that's like what 8 years back. But think of it as put yourself in Hemang Badani or the other coaching staff's shoes. You have, I know, if you basically use up Nisanka, it means you're taking one foreigner slot. But I think the way they used Abhishek Porel over the last so many games is that Abhishek Porel is your person who takes down spin, and Abhishek Porel is used as a floater. They get him as an impact player. They use him only as a floater. They have not given him any duty that you're going to be my consistent opener. That was in 2023. I think 24 also Abhishek Porel had a good year, 320 odd runs in the games that he got to play. So, and for them, Abhishek Porel is not the person who is taking down pace and spin. But if you look at Nisanka, he's somebody who can take down pace and spin consistently. We've seen a consistent form. So, if they have to rate the three, Prithvi Shaw is highly inconsistent. The only way that I can see them use Prithvi Shaw is, let's say they're playing RCB or some other side or Punjab Kings. It's a 230, 240 chase. They want somebody to come and change, gears along with Rahul. That's their only opportunity to use Prithvi Shaw as an impact player, just in a very specific situation. I don't think they have told him that they're giving him a season to open, which is probably why Nisanka makes it as a more trusted opener. But Delhi is not, they don't have options for the fact that, see, you need somebody who scores faster than Rahul, but you also need somebody who's consistent. So, would you between choosing faster and consistent, you would most often than not pick for consistency. That's why Nisanka is here. Sure, faster options you have Porel, you have Prithvi Shaw, but I don't think they're making it to the squad just because the team has a doubt on their consistent ability to take on higher quality of bowling. So if somebody is going to play 10 games in that season, it's probably Nisanka as an opener. Do you think there is a strong case for DC to look at consistency and not pick Nisanka as an opener? Who else do you think they can pick?
They're wasting the foreigner slot in him. Not wasting,
They're
but you
wasting.
have
Okay,
better options.
so then
No.
they have to subscribe to the fact that only KL will anchor one end up. Somebody can, like an Urvil Patel, can come and play a 20 or 5 balls and then get out. So I think that's where DC is not subscribing to that, saying that I need both openers at least to have a certain degree of class and consistency. They clearly don't see Shaw to go attack different types of bowlers. Maybe the very specific day, impact player he will play. They're not even trusting Porel with that. Porel, I thought his whole thing was striking against spin, in the power play. But outside of that, I don't think they're trusting these two at all. So to me, I think we are speaking on an imaginary problem, saying, "Hey, why are you guys
Very
having this
conservative
Sanka?"
approach. But it's a very, very conservative approach, which, as we've seen with CSK, does not always work, especially in this, capitalist,
No, no, you
hyperinflated,
have a
flat
yeah, yeah, you
IPL.
have a fair point there. But do DC have the reinforcements? Is my question of the talent that they have.
I think
What is the
uh, I think that now traces back to the auction, and again that brings it to a point there that had been made earlier. Why didn't they go for an more proven for
the option is
openers?
a bigger problem to solve? Okay,
Yeah.
it's like a mothership question. With the
No, no,
current
no.
squad,
It
do
is
you
not the
think
auction. I feel that they
with,
have,
cur-
they
with
have. Go on,
they
go on.
have the talent? You're right. You're right. They have the talent. The question is who can come. Do you want to give a chance to Karun Nair? Do you want to give a chance to Nitish Rana, who, by the way, opened for Kolkata Knight Riders? So you have a potential Indian opener. Now, if you're saying Nitish Rana and you're giving him a chance, he did score a couple of 50s. That I think will then fit into Trinay's argument. But is Nitish Rana consistent enough to get you like 14 to play 14 games this season? I think Delhi are not trusting any of these four guys, which is Porel, Shaw, Nitish Rana, or who's the other guy, man? There's one more guy in the mix.
Sahil Parak.
Karun Nair. Karun
Oh,
Nair. Karun Nair.
sorry.
Okay, add Sahil Parak to five. So they are trust five guys. They've just gone with Nisanka saying at least this guy gives me consistency. Because when you look at their averages, 26 at 150 is still better than 10 at 180, 10 at 190. So I think that is the thought process behind having Nisanka. But I'll wait for comments to see if anybody else
That,
is having any other
that is a
thoughts.
thought
But
process. But I'd like to quote our Lord and Master, Mr. Neerav Ghosh. He measures the success or the quality of an opening batsman on whether he can score 145 balls. And Prithvi Shaw can very well score 145 balls. He has a listed triple hundred in England, if I'm not mistaken. We know he can do that, right? So I'd argue
hey,
that he
that's
needs
not a
to
fair
minimum.
argument, man. It's like saying, I will score well in my 10th boards because I scored 100 in LKG. Doesn't. That's how weak the argument is.
Uh,
At I would say for this point, like I'll just circle back to my one of the other points with regards to Prithvi Shaw. There's at this point DC have nothing to lose. You play Shaw, and I don't know whether this is delusion just blinding me, but you have seen with Sarfaraz Khan how someone who was hungry to get back into that sort of field of play can play. You see how Sarfaraz has played, even when he has not played on the pitch while fielding. He has that. You have seen that sort of passion. Whether can we get the similar sort of passion from Prithvi Shaw, who has basically been sidelined, basically seen as a sort of a troublemaker? Does he have that sort of hunger as well? And if he comes in, we could probably still see, because if he has a hunger, like the night said, he can easily hit 100 or 40 balls. But if he
yeah.
doesn't, then it'll just be another one of the failed experiments that DC have made.
Okay, I don't know how
Right
DC.
now, no. Right now, I think it's a fair argument to say that, and I'm going to move away from my point because I'm looking at okay for 8 or 10 games. If you are Hemang Badani, you'd want somebody consistent for 8 or 10 games. Now you hit the point where your campaign is going down. You do something wild to win. So in such a circumstance, who do you want to trust? So you're saying this is like a complete outsider bias. You have five potential batters who have played this IPL in the top order for Delhi. You're saying fuck all these guys. I'll just get a guy on the outside who I know can give me this momentum because I've seen Prithvi Shaw play, and the guy nobody bats like him in terms of aggressive intent. But in a world where Abhishek Sharma scores 350s in 6 games and three fails in 3 games, will Prithvi Shaw give you that level of batting? And I think that is the question. They have nothing to lose. Will will they want to try that out? I'm curious. I think they will not. But that's just my understanding of how the DC management is thinking. But
Mm.
you have a fair point in saying that what do you guys have to lose? You guys are anyway, nowhere near qualifying for the season.
Okay, wait. Let's look at it this way. Many people, and I'm sure this would have reached Hemang Badani and whoever else is yours, said that this DC squad is cracked. They're going to finish top two, top four at the worst. They have not done that. They're closer to Lucknow Super Giants than they are to qualifying at this point, right? So in their minds, they will be like, okay, what the hell went wrong? We were supposed to do so well, we haven't. And I don't know how data driven they are, but if they are, I am very sure that the analysts will be showing them this. They'll be like, you're overperforming the middle overs, you're on par in the death overs, and what the way you lack is the power play. You're getting 16 run, you're 16 run shot every single time. Now, how can you fix that gap? You have 5 games left. Let's see if you can fix that gap. Try and score more than your opposition in the power play for the rest of these games. You have a quality middle order. You have a quality death hitters. Don't worry about that. That'll take care of itself. What opener can we use from here on out who we can carry over to the next season so we can use him next year so that our return so that we're able to fix that problem and come back stronger for the next year. You could look at it that way as well. And as Dorian said, and as you have said as well, Karthik, they have absolutely nothing to lose. Even if they try as hard as they can, Lucknow will finish below them. They're not going to get the, so they do not have to worry about them. They have absolutely nothing to lose, is what I'm trying to say. And I think Dorian made that point.
Yeah, I think I'm surprised at the amount of time we've spent on this podcast and to speak on Delhi's top order options. I hope Delhi's management also gives it the kind of time and attention that it deserves to try and see what can they do to salvage their season from here on. But that said, we're like 69 minutes into the conversation, 81 people on our stream. Welcoming all of the 81 people. Thank you for being there. Please do subscribe to the Cow Corner Dugout. We were reviewing the CSK versus DC game and trying to look at okay, what are the points? And we think we've spoken on 5 or 6 very interesting points. Now we're going to take a little pause and move. Okay, Steve Vai wants to talk about how good CSK is. So that's a nice topic to talk about. Meanwhile,
Hello,
Sachin God of Cricket says, "Hi, Cow Corner, hello." And
nice to see you.
Steve Vai also says, okay, he wants Rana and Rahul opening, and you somehow play Miller, somehow play Jamison. Jamison was the one who celebrated with Vaibhav Suryavanshi, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Jameson is 16
I
with a huge beard, and he looks like a Nordic Viking or whatever. He looks like a Viking from 200 years ago.
I thought
Surya,
you all were.
No. That's just me trying to take a note of where the numbers are, trying to put a little context, welcoming all people. But yes, we're going to the last segment essentially. We've spoken so much about the current game, the whatever we've observed about players. The point I wanted to basically speak was about tomorrow's match,
Hmm.
which is basically Punjab Kings taking on Sunrisers, and now we're into a part of the competition where if Punjab win, they're very clearly aiming for a top two spot. If Sunrisers win, they're challenging that too because Sunrisers is just 1 point behind
that's
Sunrise. I just think, but for me, I think if Punjab wins, it means the IPL is going to get interesting with a lot of teams stuck on 12, and then it becomes like okay, it's like a shootout. Every game becomes a shootout.
tomorrow is going to be very matchup heavy because again the margins are so thin. I hope it is matchup heavy. I'd like to see Harpreet Brar report in the power play to that SRH top three. There is a matchup
Yeah.
there which I will pick up tomorrow, but I want to see
Wait,
that
what
kind of
is the
stuff.
matchup you're talking? Harpreet Bar as a slow left arm orthodox bowling to Abhishek
And
Sharma.
then Abhishek, yeah, both of them do not have a matchup there.
Was it? Is it? Is it?
They
Is the ball? But this is a ball potentially coming into the left-handers, right? It's in their hitting arc. Does Harpreet Brar bowl consistent googlies as a slow left-arm orthodox bowler?
No, I'm not talking about Harpreet Brar in particular. I'm talking about slow left
Okay.
armers to those two and Kishan as well in particular. Those three are well under par against left armers, and I don't remember which one. I was looking up the data earlier. One of those three is very, very susceptible to get out, and the other two will slow down. So you don't have a risk, right? You don't have a risk of okay, if one gets out, the other one will come and smash. That risk is not there as well, and especially considering how bad Punjab's bowling attack has been over the last few games. They started off pretty well, but the wheels have been coming off. Ashdeep looked like he hit form. He hasn't hit form yet. Bartlett is in and out of the side. Lockie played one game and got smashed by a 15-year-old. So they have a lot of bowling problems. So I'd like to see how they do tomorrow. Vaishak as well, in and out of the team. So who knows? Throw something new in, add some more masala to it. Try something. Try something that SRH won't be expecting, basically. Because I guarantee you, any pacer that's going to bowl them tomorrow, unless it's a spicy wicket, is going to get smashed. Their best bet might be bowling, Harpreet in the power. Or at least try an over.
You know what? They should try their best bowler against SRH like they did last time. Get Shashank
Ashdeep.
Singh. Shashank Singh.
Shashank Singh.
Shashank is slow left arm, isn't he?
What are you saying, man? Shashank is right arm WW.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Abhishek is slow left arm. Okay. Yeah.
Abhishek, you're getting a
Okay.
bit confused.
So Shashank
No, I
Singh, if you
actually.
remember, in their previous return fixture, the previous fixture, which was played at Mullanpur, Sunrisers were what 120 odd in the eighth over, and that is when Shashank Singh came on to bowl as a last ditch measure and took both the openers out. So and that they actually restricted SRH to 219 in that game. But I don't know if Shashank's going to play because he's
Exactly.
not really been
Yeah.
amongst runs. They've got Nehal Vadera to play for him, but even Nehal Vadera is not scoring runs. So these are probably the only.
Nehal should not be anywhere near this Punjab side. No
Yeah,
disrespect
that
to
is
him, he's
still,
working hard.
it's
He
still
should be
odd.
nowhere near this IPL side.
Yes,
I don't
it's
care how
still
badly
odd.
Shashank feels. Yeah, he
It's
still needs to play. Yeah, go on.
yeah, it's extremely odd that Nehal Vadera has been given chances again and again, despite the fact that he has consistently failed as well. Even in the chases that Punjab have pulled off, Nehal Vadera sticks out like a sore thumb as one of the players who doesn't really perform at all. And I feel like that is a place where Shashank can come in, because even if he does bad, you're basically just getting the same performance that you were getting earlier. So if Shashank performs, that's an upgrade.
He was batting pretty well before he got dropped, or back spasmed, I should say. That's how that's code word for dropped on this channel. In case you're new here, yeah, back spasmed. Yeah, and he
But
was back spasmed for his fielding rate. That's why he's not playing. He
Yeah.
dropped like in a game and or something like that, and that is still not not reason enough to drop. One of the best finishers in the league. It's
yeah, I
just
think
It,
it's
stupid.
just it's a very small problem that Punjab have. Well, they've if I were to look at really what are things that Punjab is now having to fix, I would say their number six batter, should it be Shashank, should it be that finisher basically, because you anyway still have Stoinis who's been finishing games. So I don't think they have like two three batters who are completely out of form. It's one player who's out of form. Because Suryan Shetge also got a good game last time. He's starting to score runs. Shashank and Nehal probably need some time to find their zone. But outside of that, I still think somebody like Arshdeep Singh, uh, of people who bowled like at least like 30 overs within the season. Um Marco Jansen has not taken a lot of wickets, so he's at a very high average or very high strike rate. And Arshdeep is probably one of the most expensive, right, in terms of your economy rate. Arshdeep, last year, both of these bowlers bowled very well. Arshdeep, I don't know how much. I think Arshdeep had like 16 wickets, and sorry, not I don't know. Both of them together had like 18 or some 37 wickets, in the 2025 season. But this time, they averaging 40. Last year they were averaging 25. So, and together they've taken only 16 wickets. So I think while there, and this is a point that's now coming to fore, PBKS has the batting, as Nirav also mentioned, to be a plus 40. But their bowlers are, not being able to contain the other batters from scoring runs. Teams are still piling totals against Punjab. And this is what's happening. If your Punjab's bowling in due and they are slightly on a slower track, I think it's a familiar trap that Punjab get caught into. And because their bowlers are Steep and Janssen and not amongst wickets, I think this, along with a lack of a reliable finisher, is probably their only places where they are getting caught in a game. But that said,
Well, they had
it,
Shashank. Shashank and Stoinis a really good partnership, right? And then they benched him for whatever reason. Just to pull up some
I'm
numbers
saying
here.
that is the only hole they have to pull. They don't have any other major hole that I can think of for Punjab. Because after looking at that Stoinis thing, right? 62 of 22 versus RR, 40 of 31 versus Gujarat. Shadegay played very well, 57 of 30 balls, he
Yeah,
played
Sheikh is
along with
looking good.
yeah.
Stoinis. So I think the combination that Punjab Kings have, 8 out of 11 slots are a tick. Three are probably not, and it's just blowing hot and cold. While Singh has not
Uh,
batted, he's bowled well.
which three
He's
slots
out
do you
of
think are
nowhere.
next?
Yeah, these three, they're not at their best performance. While they may be a lock because of combination, that is something they'll have to check. But that said, moving on to SRH, I'm waiting to see how a more skilled bowler like a Pat Cummins will be bowling to this madcap opening pair of Prabh Simran and Priyancharya, because there's a certain class to Pat Cummins, and Pat Cummins might not be an essential T20 wicket-taking bowler, but I like the way he bowled in the last game versus Kolkata Knight Riders. Uh, so yeah, it's curious to see how our man Pat Cummins will go,
Cummins
because
and Malinga have been okay. Sorry to interrupt, but they've been SRH's best bowlers ever since Cummins came back, and Ishan has been doing it even
but
before
Cummins
Cummins
has
got
only
back.
been 2 games or 1 game since he's come in, right?
True, but he was really good for them in the previous 2 seasons, on economy especially, and he'd take about a wicket a game. This season, when he came back as well, he looked good. But then the worrying thing for them is that both of them went for mad runs last game. Praful Hinge out of the team. I don't think Nirav was right. I don't think they're going to trust him for the rest of the season. Sakib Hussain blowing hot and cold, but he is good. He's quality. But again, like Nirav said, all you need is one guy to go for runs, and then the the dam's going to break wide open. So that is something that Prab and Priyansh should be looking at. That's probably their best hope. If you take Malinga for runs in his first over and Cummins, there is nobody that can fall back on. Shivang is a wicket taking bowler, not economical per se. So yeah, those are the problems that SRH potentially have with their bowling lineup. Batting lineup, the matchup that one matchup is the only credible one I have. But I don't know if Brar can. Brar has bowled in the power play, right? His debut game, he bowled to against RCB. He bowled to Kohli. He got him out in the first over. Catch to backward point, if I'm
Usually,
not mistaken.
which year was this? 2020, 21?
22,
21.
22,
Okay.
22, 21. Yeah.
But
So
looking at these two sides, I would look, they're pretty explosive sides because I'm just looking at, I was just running a query on Stats Guru, and I don't know if I can share my screen. Let me see. Let me share my screen. I'm basically running a query on who are the fastest batters in this edition of the IPL with a certain minimum constraint. Not able to really share my screen, which is a screen share screen. Let me know if you're seeing my screen. Are you seeing? Are you seeing my screen, which has this queried screen?
Not
No.
yet.
What are you seeing?
our three beautiful faces.
Yeah.
Still okay.
Nice
Looks
beard, though.
like okay. Let me just go to the numbers. So Priyacharya, four of if I look at the top 10 players in terms of strike rate, I'm having Priyacharya, Abhishek Sharma, Ishan Kishan. That's essentially uh, like 3 out of 8, and then you have Prabh Simran Singh, and then Travis Head. So you're having and Cooper Connolly, and then Shreyas Iyer is there at 165 strike rate. So if I were to look at the top 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, the top 13 players in terms of strike rate, you have 7 of them from tomorrow's game. So it's going to be a good battle heavy side. But that said, from a quiz standpoint, while we have the top 13 and Shreyas Iyer is number 13 at 165.65, do you know who's number 14 on the strike rate? 379
14.
runs with the
Cheta,
highest of.
Cheta,
Huh?
Cheta,
Cheta
Sanju
is
Was
Samson.
that
actually number 12. Cheta is number 12, 167.5.
Sarfu.
57.4.
Sarfaraz?
No,
Oh.
this is Virat Kohli, 165.5.
Oh.
And in this same list, at number 9 is KL Rahul, 49.4
Wow.
average, 181 strike rate in this year in
Yeah,
this edition of the IPL. And KL Rahul is scoring at a faster clip than Prabh Simran or Travis Head or Cooper
that
Connolly
is wild. That is
Or
absolutely wild.
Sanju
More than
Samson.
Travis Head.
Yeah. So and this is like a to me I think KL. That's why I said KL has a great chance if let's say even if Delhi don't qualify. Because KS is going to up his strike rate to about 200, and he has an average
He's
of
faster than Klaasen as well. He's faster than Head, Klaasen, and Kishan as
yeah,
well, I'd like to say.
Klaasen is not there in the top 13. Let me look at okay, number 14 is Jaiswal, 15
Kishan.
is Sai Sudarshan. Klaasen is number 16, and Klaasen is on
Yes.
156.82.
Yeah, to be fair, Klaasen has sort of picked up so in like the past few games in terms of power, in terms of strike rate, because I remember he was sort of playing those innings and sort of slowing down the Hyderabad innings at the start, especially in the
He
game
wasn't
against
slowing
Punjab.
them down. Travis Head wasn't couldn't buy a run. Did and whoever they had after that was besides only Abhishek and Kishan were making runs. So he was making runs at an average clip, 140 to 150 is what I think he was doing, 130 sometimes. But yeah, Rahul at 180 is 185. I think is absolutely crazy. That is nuts. Who would have expected that?
How? Uh,
Meanwhile, just to make Dorian blush. Okay.
We
Okay.
need
So
SRH to lose. Fair point. Yeah, we need.
I,
So that
on
said, I
terms of
think it's an interesting game tomorrow. Let's go with our round of predictions. We're like what 84 minutes into the pod. Wow, that's a long pod that we have today. But I think we've had a good set of discussion, looking at numbers and looking at various narratives. What are your predictions for tomorrow in terms of match, or what do you expect? How do you expect the game to go?
match
I will
narratives,
start with
Brar in the power play, please, please. I want this to happen.
He's praying for
Phenomenal.
it.
I want this to happen. And will do well. Not Hakil Hussain well. He will take wickets. I can guarantee that. And I think Punjab's going to win. I mean, well-oiled unit. Um, you know, Head is in chippy form. I know he just made a couple of runs, but still, someone Harpreet Brar, cough. If he can come and get a couple of wickets up top. After number four, that batting just stops. They have basically Livingstone is no longer a human being to them. Again, Smaran Ravichandran, he looks good, but very young. They have no batting after number four,
I don't think
or very
Smaran's
little.
going to come because Smaran was, I think, because Nitish Kumar Reddy had missed out. That's why Smaran came. Is that fair? I don't
Yeah.
think Smaran
Is
otherwise
Nitish,
is.
is Nitish Reddy available for tomorrow?
They said that he's fit to play on Wednesday. I think
Ah, okay,
his
okay,
he's
then
coming in
no sweat.
will keep Smaran out.
Okay, then he bats at five. Okay, then besides those five, they don't really have the depth that
They
they need
have
to.
Yeah,
Aniket and
I,
Salil, but
who
they
are
are.
very explosive batters, and you have Pat Cummins. Just that, I think with Hyderabad, even somebody like a Harshal Patel can bat, but
Okay,
you
Cummins'
can
batting
bat.
is extremely overrated. As an Australian fan, I will tell you that it is. He's good, but he is no longer the batsman who can get you 50 or 14 against a Dwayne Bravo who was 41 years old at the time. There
No,
was a
that
good
was
knock,
what
no doubt.
2022.
22, yeah, 21, 22. See, he was batting a lot because he was injured. He's the kind of batsman who he's big, right? He's 6'5". He's really heavy. He can smash a long ball, and if he's a nick when he bats often, he can bat well. The problem is he's probably not batting a lot in the nets to manage the. He had a stress fracture last year, if I'm not wrong. Dorian, correct me if I'm wrong. He had a stress fracture, so he's probably not going to bat much. So I don't think he is a really good nick. He's averaged like 9 with the bat in tests over the last 2 and a bit years, ever since that 23 Ashes. So yeah, his and Harshal Patel's batting are pretty overrated. I would not count them. Salil Arora and the other guy as well, Aniket Verma. Yeah, I don't have much faith in them. The quality just drops off after the dish. But it is a good thing that he's coming back, for no doubt.
Yeah. And they also have an extra bowling option in Nitish Kumar Reddy when he comes back.
Yeah, him and his 140 kilometers of glory, as Varun Aaron will not stop letting us know.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
So I'm
I
just
think
noting a
Punjab will
pattern
win.
here.
What about you two?
Sorry, I think I'm going to go with Punjab to win chasing, where SRH bat first. They've liked batting first on this particular pitch across the last 2 years. Pitch number two is what Cricket Board reported. Apparently, the sides batting first have won 3 games, lost 2 games. So it's 3-2. Average scores are around 200. I think only one game they played on this track. SRH posted 242 versus DC. They won by what 47 runs because DC towards the end scored some runs and then reduced that margin of victory. Whereas Punjab have won 5 of their games chasing. So I think SRH may want to bat first. Punjab may want to bat second. And out of the two sides, definitely Punjab looked the stronger side, though there's only 1 point separating them. So I'll go with Punjab. What about you guys?
Punjab.
Yeah, Punjab here as well. I am a lot of the reasons why a lot of the reasons that Karthik stated are why I also believe Punjab will win. I have a especially because I have a feeling Punjab are a side that believe they can chase anything. We saw that against Delhi. They just saw a mammoth total and they just chased it down like it was nothing. So when I have a feeling whenever Punjab see like their target, they find it a bit easier to work with and they find sort of like okay we have something to work with, let's just work towards chasing that down. So if Hyderabad do bat first, I can very well see Punjab winning it, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. But yes, I think that said, this will be the fifth game in the IPL tournament, where if let's say Punjab wins, it will result in the points table remaining exactly the same in terms of positions. It's like getting wilder the IPL, where your relative positions are not really changing much. But if SRH obviously win, that will result in the points table having a big shift.
Yeah,
So that said, I think we've been able to look at tomorrow's game. Then what do we expect? I think yeah, it's almost 12, and then we should probably call it a day, call it a night, and then look forward to seeing all of the other guys who are on the stream today. And as Steve Boy says, this is how we summarize it. Chennai Super Kings ஒரு பெரிய whistle அடிங்க. Of course, it's a very happy moment to see CSK salvage something in the IPL. One didn't expect them. After being 0-3, they're now 5-7, which is totally 5-10. So it's been a mixed bag season for CSK, not yet over definitely. So that said, thanks to the 82 odd people who are live with us on the stream for the last 90 minutes. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Till then, from